And so one of the best tools that we're going to talk about to fix an owner's problem that I feel is really underutilized is seller financing. So what is seller financing? It is a sale of a property where at least one payment is scheduled to be received after the tax year in which the sale occurs. So we see seller financing everywhere. And if you're dealing with sellers, you will definitely get the response of, I talked to my realtor about seller financing. They told me it was illegal. Or I talked to the guy down at the mechanic. He told me it was illegal. Seller financing is not illegal. There's nothing illegal about it. And seller financing happens all the time. For example, like it show up on the screen, we have cell phones people seller finance. We have cars get seller finance. If you drive by a used car lot, you will see signs of, we are the bank. Your credit is good here. They are seller financing you cars. Furniture gets seller finance. So seller financing happens all the time. Just for some reason, when people talk about real estate, there becomes into this, oh my gosh, it's illegal. It is absolutely not illegal. And it is very legal. And in fact, the tax code discusses it at length. So it is very legal. All right. So what are some of the basic advantages to seller financing? For the buyer, no qualifying. So you don't have to go through the qualifications, no underwriting. You can close these deals in as quick or as long as you want. The quickest we've done, and we'll talk about this one, is just about a week, just under a week. A quick close and negotiate terms. So that means you're not restricted by, hey, I have to give cash or the interest rate and the loan term that the bank wants. I can do whatever I can do that affords whatever the property can afford is what I'll pay. For the seller, there's steady cash flow. So the advantage for the seller, there's steady cash flow. So a lot of the people sell, they'll get cash and then they have no idea what to do with it. They're just, like I said, a lot of the people that we're dealing with are older retired landlords. If they had, $1 million, they'd be like, what am I going to do with this thing? They'd be scared to death to put in the stock market. And so they're looking for something that just be able to give them steady cash flow, because one of the biggest fears, I forget where I read this survey, one of the biggest fears of Americans is their money running out before they do. So it's really important to understand that people want cash flow. People want to know, hey, like when I'm 90 and I can't work, I can have money coming in and I'm okay. I'm not going to have to sweat it. I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be sent away. I can pay my bills. I can keep the electricity on. I can pay my groceries. I can pay for my home, and I'm secure. So that's really one of the huge advantages of seller financing. It gives them security. Like I said, with seller financing, if you take cash and put into a stocks and the stock crashes tomorrow, that's it, done. For seller financing, if to go back to that, you can't go to your stockbroker and say, hey, I know we took a hit on, whatever, company X yesterday. Do you mind if I get my money back? I don't like the way that really worked out. They're going to say, no, that's it. The deal's done. And so in addition, there's security. And meaning by if for some reason the buyer doesn't pay, they can foreclose and take the asset back and then resell it to another party. So take an asset back that they take the money they've already received in terms of cash. It's their cash, and they foreclose. Then they get the property, and they can resell it or rent it out or do whatever they want to it at that time. They can get higher returns that we're going to discuss in a little bit. They can also get, like we said, there's going to be high sales price, and we'll discuss that a little bit as well. Like I said, investment outlives them. So like we talked about earlier, people have a huge fear of money running out before they do. So this is a method that allows their money to not outlive them. The money to outlive them for as long as they want. Protect the heirs. When there was a recent article I read where out of 10 people with that receive inheritances, and here I'll ask anybody can answer here. Out of 10 people on average, how many after the people receive the inheritance, when they die, how many still have money from that inheritance? Out of 10, how many do you think still have money left?
Two.
Yeah, 3. So, right. So just out of kids receiving inheritance, 7 out of 10 are going to blow that money. And then out of that, and then the grandkids, only 1 keeps it. So that means out of 10 inheritances that come down, only 1 stays in that family. That means there's $1 left. Doesn't mean it's grown. 1 out of 10 kids is still going to have that, grandkids is still going to have that money from that inheritance. So it's like that saying, shirt sleeve to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. And people that have assets, that own assets, are very well aware of this. They understand, hey, I want to protect my money. I don't want my kids to blow it. I don't want them to go out and buy a bunch of cars and buy a bunch of nonsense. I want them to have the money so that they can pay for their needs. They can pay for their housing. They pay for their kids' college, so on and so forth. So this is a really good way to protect for people that sell, to protect their heirs. They can get advances on the money. So a lot of times you'll hear people say, well, you know, what if I need a big chunk of cash? You can get advance on that money, and then the money just keeps going. So for example, you know, if you're paying somebody $1,000 a month for 30 years or 360 months, and they say, listen, I need $10,000 bucks. You say, okay, I'll pay you $10,000 a day and give me credit for the next 12 months. So that means I don't have to pay you for the next 12 months of mortgage payments, but you get your $10,000 credit, $10,000 cash money today. And then after 12 months, we'll just start back to $1,000 a month. So, so that's another huge advantage. And then no work involved, right? They just pick up their money. They can have it direct deposited. They can just, you know, send it to their mailbox. They don't have to do any work like they used to before when they managed the properties. Like I said, quick closing. The sellers don't want to doodle around it in escrow either. They can make the thing really quick. And number one is huge, is the deferment of capital gains. Like I said, I'm not a tax expert, but we're going to go through the advantages to deferring capital gains, which a lot of people that, like I said, people that have money understand what a crushing blow that is to sell and cash out on an asset. So to be able to defer those capital gains is a huge, huge, huge benefit that we're going to go in more detail on. All right, so to show you how this works, we're going to show you our first deal, the first deal we've ever done, which we did just about 10 years ago. And obviously we've done deals since then, but I love this deal. One, because it was our first one. So anybody who's out there is like, I don't know what is going on. You'll see how we felt when we didn't know what was going on. So there's always hope. So you can still do this stuff when you don't know anything. And it really has, it's just got a lot of good elements in there that I really think are really good. So our first meeting with these people was on December 19th. It was December 19th, 2010. And they said, hey, we want to sell. Oh, we got in touch with them. They called us on a mailer. So we sent out mail, and they called us on that mail. And they call us, and we meet with them, and we sit down with them at a table, pet the dog. They had a lot of dogs, which was really nice. I enjoy petting dogs, so it was cool. And just figuring out the situation. What do they want? What's their situation? How can we help them? And just building rapport and figuring out what's going on. So, and the property they're selling was an apartment building. It was a 5-unit building. It was Section 8, all Section 8 tenants. The rents were just shy of $7,000 per month. And however, even though it's Section 8, anybody knows Section 8, typically Section 8, the government will pay a portion of the rent, and then the tenant's responsible for the other portion. The tenants weren't paying the other portion. They'd sort of gotten really lax with it. So, excuse me. So, so the tenants weren't paying it all anymore. And so, you know, that was frustrating for the owners. And fair market value for the property at the time was about $500,000 to $550,000. So what they wanted was, excuse me. Okay. So we're trying to figure out what they want. They wanted a price of $895,000. Now, does anybody in the group know how they came up with that number? Anybody have any idea how $895,000 they came up with that number when we know that the fair market value is between $500,000 to $550,000? Anybody?
Cap rate?
No kidding. I mean, that's a good guess, but the market? Well, the market. Hey, Karen. The market was between $500,000 and $550,000. So that was the market, but the market, or the
They took
market.
it from the
Previous
from the
value
highest.
before the crash.
That's right. So it was before the crash. So they said, hey, before the crash, we were getting offers for $895,000. And they probably were right. They were getting offers for that before the crash. And then after the crash, everything changed. So they said, we want $895,000. That's it. So there wasn't any rhyme or reason to it. It was just, that was the number that was in their head. They wanted that number. They agreed to $30,000 down. And they said, we'll do seller financing for 20 years and we want 7% interest. And so that makes the monthly payment $67.06. So does anybody see a problem with this right now? What problems does anybody see with this, with the offer from our perspective?
You're not earning enough income to pay your debt.
Yeah.
Correct.
No
Doesn't
cash
it
flow
go?
to pay the debt.
Yeah, so exactly. So if the property's, say it's netting 7,000, if we got to pay 67.06 in mortgage, that's it. Like, because we still got to pay for taxes, we still got to pay insurance, we still got to pay all the other goodies that come with property management, utilities, everything, and there's nothing left over. So now all of a sudden we got to come out of pocket to pay that, and so that's not going to be able to work, right? Because if that happens, then all of a sudden that thing's going to get foreclosed on real quick, because there's just not going to be enough cash to pay for everything. So 6706 is not going to work, but we're saying, okay, we'll think about it. So we say, listen, we'll think about it. We're going to leave and think it over. We'll get back to you. And by the way, they said, hey, we have to sell before the new year because they were concerned there was whispers of the capital gains tax laws changing in the new year. So they said, hey, we got to sell in 11 days. And if we don't sell in 11 days, the deal's off. So that means like we're under a lot of pressure right now to make this thing happen now.